Hello, JCU alumni and friends. I'm Spencer German. I serve as the Alumni Engagement Specialist in the Office of Alumni Relations at John Carroll University. And I'm thrilled to be back with our latest installment of the Young Alumni Spotlight, featuring for the first time a pair of inspiring alumni, as I'm joined today by Gabrielle Vaughn, class of 2017, and Chelbi Graham, class of 2019, authors of the book A is for Africa, a guide through African American history. Gabrielle and Chelbi, just thank you guys for being our featured alumni for the February installment of the Young Alumni Spotlight. I want to give you both the floor to sort of share a little bit more about yourselves, what you do for a living, and obviously we talked about it, but also just the book that you guys both sort of teamed up to write together.
Well, thank you, Spencer, for having us on. We're so happy to still be so connected to John Carroll after graduation. So thank you for that. So Gabrielle can hold up our book. So as you said, our book is A is for Africa, a guide through African American history. And it is an alphabet book that highlights a different historian or historical event with each letter. So there's a lot of things that we tried to cover in there, and we really wanted to focus on information that's not typically covered in regular K-12 curriculum. So we wanted to focus on those things that maybe none of us were actually taught in school. So a lot of my information came post-grad. So we wrote this book in 2020. We met in 2019, but we wrote the book in 2020 when our just social climate was in a lot of unrest, and everybody was saying, well, if you educate yourself, then this will get better. If you educate yourself, then this will get better. So we know that we teach the children how we want them to grow up as adults. So we're like, if we make a book with all the information that we think would be helpful to prepare our children to be leading adults, then maybe they can grow up in a better society than we are in right now. So that's just the gist of our book.
And like she said, it's an alphabet book. So from A to Z, we tried to highlight different African American history events or historians that we felt, again, it's not being taught in the regular curriculum, or something that just was news to even, a senior in high school, or even, their grandparents, just in terms of the information. And I got stuck on a letter. I started writing it, and I got stuck on the letter J. And then I think Chelbi called me and she was like, oh, well, J can be for Juneteenth. And look, now it's a national holiday, and that's in the book.
That's awesome. Really, really cool. And a really inspiring story, I think, too. I think everybody tried to kind of pick up other hobbies and things during the pandemic. And it's cool that you guys sort of found a way to find something that was of interest to you and that you were passionate about, and turn it into a byproduct that you can now use in teaching. And I mentioned teaching. You guys both are educators. So I guess what led you guys down that path to choose to try to educate young minds? And also, what do you envision for the future in terms of, you guys wrote this book. Do you have plans to do other books down the line together? What are some of your future plans in that world too? If Chelbi, if you want to start us off again.
Yeah, so much to unpack in that question. Yes, we do have a lot of books. We have one more book that's on the back end of finishing. So we're excited to push that out. That'll be out soon, and we'll be promoting that on all our socials and things like that. And as far as teaching, our goal for the book in teaching is to make sure that the book is in the hands of all schools, and that we get away from this idea that Black history should only be taught during February, and it should be taught throughout the year. So we say, it's not just 1 month, it's 365 days. There's all 12 months where you should be learning about the contributions of African American people. So that is our main goal, is to make sure that the book is getting into the schools, and that is taught all year round. And then let my parents tell it. I've been wanting to be a teacher since I was young, and I always wanted to teach. So I really never thought about doing anything else. I think when I was little, I wanted to be a math teacher, and then got to Algebra 2 in high school and said, maybe not math, but I may still want to teach. So I've always wanted to be a teacher, and John Carroll just helped me get there.
The saying, let my parents tell you, I used to bring home graded papers, and then I would have my dolls and teddy bears lined up as a classroom in the 80s when I was a kid. So I've always actually wanted to be a teacher as well. I'm the oldest of four, so technically I'm a teacher of but we both teach second grade. I love second grade. I love teaching reading, and I love when the light bulb comes on, something or a strategy that I've given them or something that they've taken from one of my lessons. So it's just empowering. And then with the book, we just connected again, 365 American history is African American history. So just connecting it daily, whether it's with George Washington Carver and what he invented. And then that could be something we are studying in science. So I love the way that we connect our book to everyday instruction.
Gabrielle, I'll go back to you on this one. How would you say that your time at John Carroll paved the way for you to be in this, the current position and to have the current opportunities that you've had? And then Chelbi, if you want to follow her up.
With the reflections, we did a lot of writing in John Carroll. I promise you, stick through it, because we had to do case studies and reflections. So just being comfortable with writing. And then we had to do a lot of observations as well in the ed program. So that made me comfortable. But definitely I go back to the library where I learned how to write. Definitely, I'm not sure how many assignments we had that we had to reflect. And I'm up in the library till midnight, like typing papers. But I promise you, I'm a better writer. My lesson plans are immaculate because of the writing process. So just stick with it with the writing, but just, again, basic writing is what I took away from John Carroll.
And I'll say that the classwork, the field work, like Gabrielle said, the observations that we had to go to other schools to see, and then the activities, they directly reflect what I'm seeing every single day. So what I will say is that all of the activities, John Carroll had us doing field work as a freshman, fall freshman year. So a lot of people, they don't get that like internship type feel until spring of senior year, where we were seeing all types of classrooms as a freshman. So that's really what I took away in preparing me for John Carroll, is that I've been at 2 different schools now since I graduated, and I cannot say that I wasn't prepared for anything that was thrown my way because of John Carroll.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah, I'll get you guys out of here with this. If you could give one piece of advice to a current John Carroll student, maybe they're senior, getting ready to graduate, enter the workforce, and try to figure out what they want to do with their lives, what would that be from you?
So I'll say, take advantage of all the resources that you have right now while you're still a student on campus. So I think a lot of us, we graduate and then we're like, oh, I have this question and I could have asked this professor, or I could have asked this person, or I could have went to the writing center. So I'll say any questions that you have, John Carroll has a great alumni network. You can reach out to somebody. You can go to your professors who may not know the answer, but may be able to lead you to someone who knows the answer. And then take advantage of all the groups, just everything. John Carroll has a plethora of things, and some things aren't really on full display. You have to do a little research for them, but it is good that you do that research now for all the questions that you have versus after graduation when you don't have as much help.
I love that. And I would say, take a breather. You've worked hard, especially if you're a senior or even if you're a freshman. Take a breather, take your time, your mental health breaks, but then get right back to it. So I remember just taking, a few hours and then getting back to work. Taking a few hours, go see family, talk to your best friends or whoever that may be, your person. Take your breaks when needed, but then get right back to it. And again, you'll be out here teaching or whatever you want to do, being an amazing John Carroll alumni in the future.
They are our first duo to be featured on the Young Alumni Spotlight. Gabrielle Vaughn, class of 2017, Chelbi Graham, class of 2019, are February honorees. Stay tuned for another Young Alumni Spotlight from the Office of Alumni Relations in March.